Hello everybody and welcome back to Animal Crossing City Folk. Today, whoa, our inventory is messed up. Okay, let's get that moved around, and then those switched around, and those switched around. There we go, that's better. I don't know if I bought flowers yesterday. I should have bought flowers yesterday. How could I forget? Need to water that carnation. Oh, excuse me. Today's kind of gonna be a bit two-pronged, if that makes any sense. We're going to be playing the game here, and I'm going to be talking about that, but I'm also going to be, if I can think of any, I'm going to be leaving some hints for a series that might be starting very soon. The simplest hint I can give is it's going to be a Game Boy Advance game, because I don't have any major qualms about emulating Game Boy Advance. Tortimer is here? Was there a holiday I forgot about? Hey, Steven. Today's Explorers Day. Oh, it's Explorers Day. Okay. It's like Thanksgiving for me. Which I suppose that would be Explorers Day, wouldn't it? I'm so confused. The final points escape me. Today's all about exploring stuff, I think. That's why I'm giving you this, Sprout. It's a sailboat model, because everyone knows that explorers are really into the ocean and stuff. So look at it and think of the ocean. Or I could just, walk down to like the beach. Fishing tourney's coming back next Saturday. Okay, so that last bug catching contest that we missed was the final bug catching contest of the summer. We also really don't have the inventory space to be finding the money rock, but I'm gonna try and find it anyway. But yeah, I don't have major problems emulating the Game Boy Advance because it actually still looks good. Same with DS, but I'd really rather not emulate DS if I don't have to. GBA just looks better emulated. But the game I want to do is Nintendo, of course, and Game Boy Advance. It also involves two protagonists. I've probably already said enough that people can probably figure out what it's going to be. But I've been working on a test playthrough of the game I'm going to be doing a series on for the past little while, and I'm fairly confident in my knowledge of the game to do a walkthrough type series on it, which is what I want to do for the game. It's what I want to do mostly of, is like walkthrough-esque videos, while also having the occasional blind thing. Like, well, City Folk here. I had never played it. I've played in Animal Crossing, so I know the basic ideas, but I've never played City Folk before I started this series. At this point, I'd like to say I know just about everything. I mean, I don't know when bugs and fish are out, but I could, it's an Animal Crossing game. They all play about the same. And they're all really simple and easy to get into. Honestly, I'd probably recommend City Folk or New Leaf for any newcomers to the series. I wouldn't really recommend Wild World. It's just missing a few things and doesn't have the same sort of feel as City Folk has, and that New Leaf also has. And I think it's mostly because Wild World, your movement feels very stiff. Because you're not, it's not an analog stick. You can't control your movement speed. You can't just decide, I'm gonna walk right now. Or, I'm gonna move at the fastest kind of jogging speed. Or I'm gonna run. Well, you could decide if you want to run. But, like, you just didn't have movement controls, really, because D-pad. I suppose you could if you use the touchpad, but who really wants to use the touchpad for movement? Ugh. Though really any Animal Crossing's a good game. And I'd recommend anyone who thinks they might like Animal Crossing to just buy a game of it. Or emulate one, but I'm not telling you to emulate. I'm just saying it, it's an option. And if you own a physical copy already, you are allowed to make a personal use copy for... Yeah, well, depending on country and intent, and there's a lot you need to keep in mind when it comes to emulating. Especially making your own ROMs. Because in most countries, it is perfectly fine to make a ROM of a game you own for backup purposes. So, for instance, if I wanted to make a backup of, well, Animal Crossing City Folk here, I am allowed to do that so long as I'm making a backup of the disc. So that, if the disc were to corrupt, I have a backup of the information that's on it so I can restore the disc. The disc is technically my property now. It becomes a gray area once I start distributing it for free, because I'm technically not I am, but I'm not hurting Nintendo's sales, especially on a game like Animal Crossing City Folk. And if I've done something to change the game in some way, then technically it becomes parody, because that's what it would be. Like, say I change Animal Crossing to have Conker as the main, the villager. So it's just Conker from Conker's Bad Fur Day walking around, and, and just call it, like, Conker Crossing. That's not... that would be parody from what I understand. I am no legal expert, by the way. Do not take anything I'm saying as actual fact. I could be wrong about everything. I feel I need to add that before someone follows what I'm saying and then gets arrested because they were distributing a parody game. Because some companies don't like that. Like Nintendo. Poor Pokemon Uranium, it didn't even have a chance at life. Mostly because it got picked up by every major news outlet ever, which doomed it. And then all of those same gaming news outlets were getting mad at Nintendo for taking it down. It's like, well, yeah, you guys told them it exists. What did you expect? Yeah, people made a fan game that has more publicity than the average Pokemon game's launch. Well, you can't let that exist. It didn't kill Pokemon Uranium. You could probably still find downloads for it around places. But it definitely hindered it, and if it has any bugs, the developers themselves are not allowed to fix them. So, I've actually never played Pokemon Uranium. I have it downloaded. I downloaded it day one because it intrigued me. So if I really felt like it, I could just play it. If I felt like it, I could distribute it. Because, well, it's a parody game, in my opinion, under Canadian law, which is what would apply so long as I'm not distributing it to outside of Canada. And it's a parody. It'd be the same as making your own little Pokemon skit. It's parody. Think like Egoraptor's video on Pokemon. That's a parody animation, and there's no arguing that, which is why it's still on YouTube. Though Nintendo has probably attempted to monetize it at some point. Because it's Pokemon, they own it. It's your animation, but they own it now. Because it's Pokemon, it involves Pokemon. They're really bad about that when it comes to Splatoon. Like, I have a backlog of all of the streams I've ever done on my YouTube channel here. every single Splatoon-related stream, not every video, but every stream, has at least 5 copyright claims. Not strikes, claims. Claims basically mean they get the ad revenue. A strike would take the video down entirely. And what bothers me about these, and I know I've brought it up before, is there are multiple points where during the spot they're claiming, it'll be completely silent because there's a loading screen, and I'll be talking. And technically that falls within the area they've claimed, so that means, in a way, they're claiming my voice belongs to them. Which it most certainly does not. I have never signed a contract with Nintendo for anything. Technically, I have to own a Nintendo account, but I read that terms of service. It does not give them your voice. It doesn't make it their property. Yeah. Nintendo is weird. Hey, Pete. I don't have any mail, so, you know. Yeah, I'm gonna put... Oh, that candy there. I'm yawning. I need to remember to go water that carnation, because I don't think I have yet. But yeah, let that kind of be a warning if anyone wants to do things with Splatoon. Expect it to get copyright claimed. I imagine as you grow larger, Nintendo will lay off a bit, because Nintendo would know roughly how much people are making, and they'll know at what point someone could hire lawyers and fight them in court and win. So they're just gonna try and milk as many small YouTubers as possible, and leave the big boys alone, because they can't really touch the big boys. And small YouTubers can't really do anything about it. And I will give some of the moments they've claimed of my streams. Technically, it could fall into being their content. Because it'll be a point where I'm not talking for an extended period of time. Possibly I'll be on the menu and I'll have put up... Oh, hey, we have a scallop. And I'll have put up on screen a thing saying I'll be back in a bit because I've stepped away to the washroom or to get a drink or, you know, something. But most of the time, they're claiming segments that would fall under commentary. And they never make these claims while the stream is going. It's always once it's in video form. And I know there's that whole Nintendo-owned program when it comes to YouTube where you can sign up and you'll get ads on your Nintendo videos, but you can only do Nintendo videos and you only get something like 10% of your own ad revenue. The other day, a high-pressure sales clerk got me to buy a blue wardrobe. But I don't think I really wanted it in the first place. Trouble is, I paid kind of a lot for it. I don't suppose you want to bail me out and buy it from me. Oh, I'm yawning. All this business talk is making me tired. Sure, I'll buy it. I need to spend some bells. I really need to get writing letters again soon. I'm just really bad at actually keeping up with it. But yeah, that should lower my money amount a bit. Yeah. We've got a lot of money. I had planned on spending mostly all of this money on buying turnips, but we know how that ended up. I don't really think there's anything else I want to do. And I am rather tired. I should probably be going to sleep soon. I do want to quickly check and see how much candy we have in storage here. Okay, so nearly a full page there. So we have technically a full page if you count that green candy. A line and one there. And one there. Okay, we have a lot of candy. I'm assuming we have more than enough for Jack, but I'm gonna keep buying it anyway. Because I don't want to be caught without enough candy. Because it's the spirit of Halloween and all. He's a bit mean. Can I just say I love the shamisen in this? Like the digital shamisen. It's not quite as good as a real shamisen, but it's pretty close. Yeah, with that, I'd like to remind everyone I do have a Patreon should you wish to support me financially. I won't go into the same sort of rant I went into yesterday. If you want to donate, it is perfectly fine. If you don't, that is also perfectly fine. If you do donate, though, I will give you a shout out, so keep that in mind. And yeah, with that, I thank you all very much for watching, and I hope to see you back next time for more Animal Crossing City Folk. See you all then.